Hey everybody, this is Caleb with Where Are They Now, presented to you by Detroit Hot Radio and Detroit Hot Television. Special guest by the name of Robert Carter, a Southern soul artist. How you doing today, Robert?
I'm doing great.
Can you tell me where your career started, where you grew up? Just give us a little bit of background.
I grew up on the west side of Detroit. I studied music in the high school, but I also took private lessons from Brazil Denards, who was a very famous director here. I took vocal lessons because I wanted to be a classical singer. So I pursued that until I changed my mind and I wanted to go into the Marine Corps. I went to the Marine Corps. I was a sniper in Vietnam. I got 3 Purple Hearts. I guess I'm highly decorated, so they say. When I got out of the military, I was not in my right mind because I had been in the jungle for so long. And my brothers said, hey man, let's put a group together. Rob, you still sing, don't you? It took me a couple years to get into the R&B swing because I was so used to the opera and stuff. When I finally got into it, my group Nature's Divine, I enjoyed it, and I can actually say music saved my life. Started turning pro R&B in about 1972. Started doing a lot of shows in 73, 74, back and forth from Japan to California, doing shows. I spent a third of my life in Japan. I'm in and out of there a lot.
Okay. Did Japan, did that have any influence on your music? Do you feel like it did?
Not so much of influence, but Japan gave me more of an opportunity to stretch out and do a lot of original stuff. They enjoy old-timey stuff, old R&B, soul, that kind of category, which is very easy for me to do. I give them what they want, and then I give them a little original stuff, and they go for it, you know? So it gives me a chance to create. There are a lot of musicians there from all over the world, a whole bunch from Detroit and Ohio.
Wow.
And so whenever I need to do a project, you know, I just call one of them up. All we do is music. There are no other jobs, you know, so they have plenty of time to come over and recreate. So yeah, it helps me a lot. Not to mention, you know, I have longtime friends over there. I turned 21 in Japan.
I love that. That's amazing.
Once you go there, you'll be turned out. I've been all over the world, but Japan is my love.
Wow. You know, I would have never imagined, especially in another part of the world, that there would be so many people, like especially like a concentrated like community. I wouldn't think, especially from like the Midwest area, connecting like that.
Yeah, a lot of musicians, these different countries, they never leave, especially Japan, because you can work every day if you want. When I'm in Japan, I might get 2 or 3 days off a month. So we work like that. So it's always work. It's always good money work. Musicians, they like to stay there. It's kind of a safer environment if you're from Cleveland or Detroit. You know, guns will get you a whole bunch of time in Japan.
I can only imagine.
You know, there's no drug wars going on because there's no drugs. If you want to get high, you can drink all night. The clubs stay open all night long.
Oh my God.
Most of the clubs close at like 6 in the morning. The upscale clubs close at like 2:30, 3.
So it's like a little bit of a gap.
Yeah, depending on the club you go to. Hip hop club, it's going to be open all night. They just dance all night long.
And is it more people that transplants, people that came from other places to Japan?
Yeah, well, it's primarily Japanese. You can live in Osaka for years and you'll never know all the clubs. It's that many.
You have work. So you're going to have a steady flow.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, without a doubt.
Okay. Huh. Alrighty. So with that, you know, especially I want to go back a little bit. You were talking about how you trained classically and then you made that switch to R&B, hip hop, you know, that arena. When you were making that transition, did you at all experience any type of musical challenges, or was it easy to just slide right in?
It's not easy to slide in. It took me approximately 2.5 years.
Okay. Do you have more of a connection? Because I know sometimes when you start off one way, like you can change to something else later on, but like where your heart is, you know, classically. So for you, would you say that there's more feeling or you're able to connect more when you sing classically or R&B? What fulfills you?
Now R&B does.
Okay.
But I still drift back to classical, sometimes just for knowledge. It helps me in a way. My heart is now R&B-ized. I like R&B, I like pop, I like rock, I like jazz, I like Brazilian, I like fusion, I like Japanese, I like a lot of different styles of music. And I've worked with a lot of different kinds of groups across the world.
Okay. I love that you said that you're able to work with so many different artists that come from so many different backgrounds, basically. Let's hop into that a little bit more. When you say that you've worked with groups from all across the world, can you tell us some of your most memorable concerts, situations that you found yourself in, some of your wildest moments?
I don't want to tell you my wildest. One of the best moments I've ever had. For a while, I was working with David Ruffin, Eddie Kendricks. I always have been a big fan of Eddie Kendricks. So working with him was really a thrill. But then I've also done stuff with David Brown, Carlos Santana, Ray Parker Jr. I've been in the business for almost 50 years now. I've worked with Japanese bands. I work with Canadian bands. I work with Filipino bands. I work with Brazilian bands. And a lot of different people in the United States. At times I'm a singer for hire, so they need a background singer. You need somebody to go in the studio and stack vocals for somebody who doesn't know how. I do that for them.
Oh, wow. It seems like you go from singing, you learn how to do so much more over the years. Like, how was that for you?
Well, it's like what you do. It's a learning experience. Every time you get with somebody, you learn with something new. I learned a lot from Eddie Kendricks, Ray Parker Jr., David Ruffin. I learned a little something from him. My group, Nature's Divine, I learned a lot from them years ago.
Okay.
The list just goes on. Being an artist is constantly learning and having new experiences.
With your career, just being surrounded by melodies and harmonies.
It's not all like that every day. You're living in Beverly Hills one day and you're living in the projects the next. You just never know. I have friends of mine who are artists, they're painters and stuff. They're living in New York one day and then they come straggling home to Detroit. I can't afford New York.
With not being able to always predict what the next phase might be, how does that impact the songs that you may sing or write? How does that translate into your work?
I mean, when you're down and out, you write down and out songs. What people are listening to, your personal experiences, if you wrote it.
In my head, I'm thinking if you are painting or if you're doing a basic sketch, depending on what you're doing, it's kind of a reflection of what you're going through in the moment. And today might be different than yesterday. And it might be different than tomorrow. But that final product, it's a reflection of all of those. It's like the sum of everything.
Right.
Okay. So speaking of some of your finished products, we have I Just Can't Control Myself. Can you give us background on that song? Like what was going through your heads, maybe some of the circumstances surrounding that?
I collaborated with Lynn Marie Smith, who is the other singer on Nature's Divine's record.
Okay. So now we're going to take a little break and we are going to listen to I Just Can't Control Myself.
I just can't control myself. I want you. I want you. When I first looked in your eyes, I found I was quite surprised. Your eyes held a magic glow. I could feel my love vibe flow. I could feel it flow. I just felt so good inside. Fixed emotions I couldn't hide. Just couldn't hide. Oh, mystic lady, can't you see? You were all the dreams I dreamed. I just wanna say that I just can't control myself. I just can't
Wow, that was such a lovely song. Thank you so much for providing that clip for us. Can you tell me a little bit about what came to mind, what you were going through when you were writing it, when you were singing it, and a little bit about the collaboration?
In all honesty, the idea was basically Lynn Marie Smith. She was the other singer. There was two of us. On I Just Can't Control Myself, I did most of the lead vocal. It was basically her idea, and we kind of just sat on her porch and worked out the lyrics. But the most important thing was I Just Can't Control Myself was the hook. We're still fighting over who did what. But we came together on it, and it was largely Lynn Marie. She did a lot. She's a great singer, and she's a really good friend. We laid it out. We had a very large band, but we also had Detroit Symphony Orchestra strings, parts of Detroit Symphony Orchestra horns, plus we had our own horns. One of the sax players in there was Ray Parker Jr.'s brother, O'Pelton Parker. We had quite a few popular people. We had a 10-piece band, but when we went out, it went into about 15 pieces because we needed more horns, and we had 2 keyboard players, and the band was really big.
That's incredible.
Originally, when we put Nature's Divine together, it wasn't supposed to be R&B pop. We were jazz fusion. We were into Manhattan Transfer, Stanley Clarke. We were into a lot of jazz fusion break, a lot of precision stuff. And the record company didn't want that. They wanted R&B pop because that's what sells. Only musicians buy the stuff that we were working on, you know. So we laid that out and never felt this way before. Lynn Smith wrote the lyrics, and she sang that song like, oh my God, it was my favorite song from the whole album. But I Just Can't Control Myself was the pick, and it was the only single that went gold.
Wow. How does that feel, go from sitting on your porch and that I'm serious, like that makes all the difference. Like when you're working with someone that you care about, it's not like someone just thrusts you together and or like, hey.
We were very close. We worked as a team. That was the magical things about being with Nature's Divine. We worked as a team. We had no conflicts. If something was wrong, it was wrong, man. Let's do it again. Simple as that. It wasn't you did this, we didn't have that. Everybody got along really well. When the tune first came out, I didn't realize the extent of our record deal. I was sitting on the porch playing chess. My brother brought the phone out and said, man, there's some guy, he talks real funny. He's on the phone. He wants to talk to you. So I picked up the phone. He was calling from London. Robert, they just played your record. You got it. It's really good, blah, blah, blah. Am I paying for this call? He said, no, you're not paying for it. So, yeah, we talked about it. And then later on that day, I started hearing on the radio here. So it was global.
Wow.
It blew me away. I'm not going to lie, it's one of the most exciting things that ever happened to me.
Wow.
That's what I was saying. Wow.
Yeah, I know that when you were writing, you couldn't have been thinking that, this one here, I know, you know what I mean? It turns out to be this pretty much like global phenomenon.
Yeah, I guess I assumed. I didn't really read the whole contract. They'll probably hit like 5 or 6 cities. It was way more than that. I went to Japan and they're like, can you sign an autograph on my album? I'm like, what?
Wow.
Even now they go for, in Japan, it goes anywhere from $35 to $150 a piece. Old albums like that, like Switch and all those old records, they're really record buffs. And they like to listen to the actual record.
Do you think that makes a difference, like in the sound? Let's say you just say, let me play something on my YouTube playlist. You know what I mean? When you listen to a record versus...
I've been trying to figure that out myself. Back in the day, we had analog. Nowadays, we have digital. Most recently, we have digital analog mix. I have a record player at home. Matter of fact, I have a really good record player at home. I like to listen to records, but at the same time, I like to go to YouTube and see it live. And the sound is, I really can't make a call on that.
Okay.
It depends on, how they laid it out. Did they remix it better for YouTube, or is the record better? You tell me.
I just got my first record play, like my first one. I always wanted to, get into it, but the most I remember is cassette tapes. I just got my first one, and I think I have one record, one of their albums, and it's The Temptations.
Oh, the Temps, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to try it for the first time.
I work with the Temps. I forgot about them.
Oh, that's awesome. They're, yeah, fangirl, but yeah. So I was just curious.
The thing about records are when you have an album, you got your picture on there, you turn it over, you see everything musically. It's a whole story about who did what, who played percussions. You get a lot of history on a record.
Yes, you're not going to get that on a YouTube playlist.
The kind of thing that we used to cherish our records so much, whereas we would buy the record, put it on cassette, and put the record away.
To me, it's like it's a level of like sacredness. Like it's
more than that. If you play that record too much, it's going to scratch.
Yeah.
We play it once, we record it. I recorded most of mine, the stuff that I really like on reel to reel, but I also save my record. When records were really popular, I find myself buying the same record over and over because I played the crap out of a few tunes and I
play it once and I'm going to put it away. So thank you for that.
You tape it.
Okay.
Yeah, I was a Temptations fan back in the day. I did happen to do part of the world tour with them. I went down south with Enchantment. Matter of fact, EJ is a really great friend of mine. Matter of fact, he lives around the corner from here.
Wow.
So we're real cool. We've been cool for years.
It's literally like community.
All the big heavies, recording artists, they moved away. They're either in the ATL, California, or New York. Because mostly ATL and California. Nobody really wants to move to New York. It's too expensive and it's too cold.
Maybe it's just me, but I feel like a lot of the richness that we can see in music now, its roots, it's from like Detroit and like some of the Midwest area.
Yeah, Ohio. Babyface is from Ohio.
Nice.
Before he was Babyface, he was just Kenny.
Oh my gosh.
We worked for the same agencies. Did the circuit with Ohio, Michigan, Chicago, and then all parts of Canada. Kenny's first deal was a production deal because he had himself, he had his brother's group, he had on TLC, Tony Braxton. So he had a production deal, and this is a bigger deal than a regular record deal.
Okay.
Yeah, he had it like that.
During your formative years, and by that I'm talking about just growing up in Detroit, normally you can kind of tell when someone is from Detroit. At least that's been my experience, especially when it confirmed my suspicions. Can you hear that in your work? Do you think that you've taken that and blended that into like, your lyrics, maybe even like melody?
But one thing I do know is different kind of a twang. Detroit and Cleveland, it's a little hard to separate the two because they're real similar. Also Chicago, because we're so close together. But as you go south or as you go west or as you go east, the diction changes or the kind of talking they do. At first I thought it was just being that we have such a diverse society. If I went to Cleveland, nobody could tell that I'm not from Cleveland. Unless it's in my dress, they can't really tell. If you came here in Detroit, I couldn't tell you were from Cleveland.
So you wouldn't say that if someone were to listen to your music, you don't think they would be able to pinpoint that exactly? Is that kind of what you're...
No, they thought it from California, really.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I don't sound like anybody in California.
Yeah, no. I'm hearing, that's not what I remember, like hearing. So, yeah. Okay.
But the way the tune was laid out, it was supposed to be so universal. So I was supposed to reach as many people as possible. So I might have made some changes to my normal diction in order to get the feeling across.
Do you think that when you did that change the feeling for you? Did you feel like that was still an authentic representation of your artistry as a whole?
You talking about that tune?
You were in situations where you had to change your diction.
My diction, the feeling is still...
It's still there.
You're still getting me. I'm just trying to make you understand it's me.
I like that. I like the way you put that. Whatever you're going through or whatever type of person you are, like sometimes music that you're, putting out, it doesn't always reflect who that artist is.
if somebody wrote it for him, you put yourself into that situation.
You find the connection. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, the connections are, you can make the connection relatively easy, especially the more you enjoy the product, the more you're going to put into it.
That makes a lot of sense.
There have been songs that I've worked on. Wasn't that geeked about doing the song,
Okay.
But I mean, we do a lot of different things, a lot of songs you love and a lot of songs are written by other people and you're really not into it as much, I have to listen to it for a while and find the niche, to find the thing that I like the most about it. It all spreads out from there, and then you enjoy the whole song. Then you can give it your all.
Okay, that answers my question. That's
for me. I mean, different people have, different ways,
No, it makes very perfect sense. I do wonder. It's just like you don't like something and you still got to sing it. It's just kind of like...
Yeah, if you still want that check.
Yes. We don't want to take a trip back home.
you gotta start liking it, so I always end up liking whatever work I get into. But some of it starting out, no, I won't try to keep it a secret. I'm like, man, that's whack. I don't like that. You'll like it,
Well, we have one more song that we do want to play. It is I've Never Felt This Way Before.
Mm-hmm.
Let's cut for a little break and give that a listen.
I never felt this way before.
We're back, everybody, and I thoroughly enjoyed listening. Can you tell us a little bit about that song?
That song was totally written by Lynn Marie Smith. It was my favorite song on the whole record. I even put it into my shows every once in a while. She wrote it. We recorded most of it at Sound Suite here in Detroit, and then we finished it off at Universal Sounds in Chicago. Then we took the whole thing to the record plant in Hollywood, and and we did the mastering there, and also, you know, burning everything else we did in Cali.
Wow.
The tune really touched my heart. It was just, it's one of those songs where I never felt this way before. It's like a feeling I've had a few times in my life. I think everybody has. And it was, when you listen to the lyrics, you'll find yourself in it, you know. It's just, wow. It's like that.
It's so emotional. Like, even the way you describe it is just emotional. And I'm an emotional person.
It's emotional.
So I'm just like, yeah, I'm here for it, you know?
She's a powerful, soulful like singer, and she's a little bitty. She sounds like this big giant girl, but she's about this big, you know. But she's a great vocalist. She's very intelligent, and she's very artsy. You know, she's one of my favorite people.
Aww, I'm loving this relationship y'all have. Like, I want a friend like that.
Oh, yeah, we're real cool. We've always been real cool. We've been friends only, but like, she's like my sister, you know.
Yeah,
and we get along well. Sometimes we don't see each other for months because we're totally in different directions musically. Well, not so much musically as just physically. We're in two different directions. But when we come together, you know, we hang out, eat chicken, drink wine. You know.
I'm telling you, that's one way to unwind.
Huh?
I'm telling you, that sounds like a great way to unwind. That's yeah.
Oh yeah, like wine and chicken. But yeah, it's a great song.
Well, I do want to go ahead and let you go, because I know that y'all's is ready and I can talk until the cows come home. I want to thank you so much for joining me and for, you know, just sharing your pieces of yourself with everyone. I want to thank our viewers as well. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Don't forget to like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, Detroit Hot Radio. Tune in again next week. Just want to say I love you guys. You guys take care, all right?